hair grab situations are very tricky. It can happen both males and females, but you have to understand that hair grabs can go both ways. It can be something that I use as the defender, but it can also be something that I have used against me from the attacker point of view. Now, I've shaved my head, so I am completely invincible to all hair grab techniques, which is probably the best thing that I can recommend for you, is to shave your head or have extremely short hair that can never be grabbed, and you never have to worry about these situations, and instead you just get to use it for your own fun. If we're going to do it from the defensive side type position, we'll go over this first. If your attacker has nice hair, if we're in situations like, let's say maybe we end up tied up in like situations like this, I can literally reach around, grab, and I can pull back on the hair. From this specific position, I may not necessarily be able to pull him all the way back, but it opens up the opportunity to where like now I can knee him or sweep the leg, and I can use that as an opportunity to take him down. And we pass through at this point and he's really starting to resist. I can grab and I can pull down on the hair a little bit to work other positions. We work strikes and about that. So you can use those kind of hair grabs as setup techniques for you on the defensive side. But again, that's not why you're here. You want to learn how to defend against hair grabs. So if you decided not to shave your head, here's kind of what we can do from you. Now, most hair grab situations are going to be extremely aggressive and they're going to happen fast. It's not going to be one where I just hold on to your hair like this. It's going to be I'm grabbing your hair and I'm ripping you down to the ground from the front or from the behind and I'm ripping you down this way. In my opinion, if I were to grab somebody's hair and start attacking them, I'm going to grab and just use that to start punching you in the face and just control your head. So you have to understand the first step, regardless of where they're grabbing you on the head, and again, regardless of whether it's one hand, if they grab you with both hands, that's just a gift for you because I have nothing to protect myself. So let's kind of just focus on one hand for now. But if I grab you with one hand, first step that you want to do is always get control right away. Doesn't matter which hand. Again, always train to just react rather than trying to react with a specific arm. If you grab with one arm, that's what you have to deal with. So whichever hand he grabs back with, it's nice and tight and you keep the elbow nice and tight. Now what this allows you to do is it maintains control of the grip. So if he isn't grabbing and I start moving, notice how much the neck wiggles around. It's at risk for injury. It's also very easy for me to pull him down. But once he latches on and he keeps that elbow nice and tight, the neck stays in place. Yes, the body moves a little bit, but his neck and head is safe. But this just allows him to stay in a little bit more dominant position. The first thing that he's going to want to do immediately, especially from the front, is instantly just start pressuring into me, throwing his strikes, working out. Now, at any point, technically, yes, he could just rip the hand off and separate the grip. But understand that if he starts just pulling the hand off right away, that you're also going to be pulling your own hair. So again, that's up to your own discretion. But once you start throwing strikes, and again, if you instantly, I grab, you grab, and you instantly start coming in with strikes right away, I'm going to be wanting to try and pull my hand back to protect myself. And if you're paying attention enough and you start feeling like my grip is loosening up and I'm trying to get my hand free, at that point you can literally just clear my hand. You can obviously follow up with more strikes. You can work on different grappling positions, clinching positions, or you can just completely disengage and get out of the situation altogether, which again, for that circumstance, might be your best option. But the main point is you're grabbing right away, you're striking right away, everything's staying nice and tight, and you're just not allowing me to get control and start pulling you down. The trickier situation is what happens if they grab your hair from the back. Now, any attack from the back is always risky because you don't see it coming to begin with, but you can't always see what I'm doing either. So all he feels is that his hair is being grabbed, but he may not necessarily know which hand. And again, that could become tricky if you're training specific techniques of, if the person grabs with their right hand, you do X, Y, and Z. If they grab with their left hand, you do X, Y, and Z. Because again, if you don't know, you're going to react differently. So in this situation, again, first thing that you want to do the second they grab, understand that when you feel this, that it's probably going to be a combination of a grab and a pull right away. So your best bet is, again, to get that grip locked in and instantly drop and kind of scoot your hips back towards me a little bit and get your head forward. What you don't want, and I'll let him grab me for this one just to kind of explain this, pretend I have hair. But what you don't want to do, especially if they start pulling you back, is I don't want to stay back and start doing this because eventually my head's just going to get torqued back and I'm going to fall down. So the second that this happens, I want to instantly start kind of doing the crunch and dropping my hips as I continue to drive back into the person. Now, you can do this one of two ways. I can literally drop my hips and just throw myself back into this person, or I can drop my hips and start walking backwards towards them and just trying to close the gap. But either way, the main step is you grab and you do somewhat of a crunch to bring that gap closer together, but it also takes the pressure off the head. Bad pressure, no pressure, okay? So he grabs, tucks, and gets his hips back. Now, recommended is that you instantly just start working strikes from this case. You kind of work yourself off to the side, you start throwing your elbows a little bit, you can start working the kicks. Now, eventually, he's gonna kind of want to do a little bit of a dip and turn and come up into me as much as he can. Now, at this point, I am not in the position to where I can pull. Even if he were to let go at this point, I cannot physically get the momentum and the energy to pull from here simply just because of how close he is in my space, which is exactly what he wants. So even if he gets into this position, if he decides to hang on and continue to hold on, that's fine. But if he decides to let go and pursue other things, that's fine, because I just don't have any grips from here. In order for me to do anything, I'm going to have to, again, step back to where now I can rip the person down, or come off to the side where I can rip him from behind. But again, at this point, by the time he gets nice and close, either he's going to continue throwing strikes, or he's simply just going to start tying up with me to the point where now he's going to start working clinch positions. He may start working different 2-on-1 grips, and eventually he takes me down to the ground, or wherever he wants me to go from there. He's getting control of that hand, he's closing the gap right away, and he's just making himself into a position that prevents me from being able to get any sort of momentum or energy. And that's what you want to do. But again, this all has to be done immediately. So he's back. I grab, I pull, he grabs, he turns, starts throwing his strikes a little bit, starts turning into me, and again gets nice and close to the point where I just can't get any sort of grip on him. And now I'm trying to defend this off as he's not working in positions. But again, if he doesn't react fast enough and I start actually pulling him down, there's a good chance we're going to end up going straight to the ground, which again is why hair grabs and pretty much any grab from behind is risky, because there's always a chance that I'm just going to pull you straight to the ground, and we just have to deal with it as it happens. If that's the case, we'll do another video of what happens if we get pulled down to the ground in those situations. But for now, focus on the main point here is this. Front, side, back, doesn't matter. If someone grabs your hair, you grab back again, nice and tight. Instantly close the gap on the person. Do not try and stay far away. Close that gap. Again, you have that connection, so you have the ability to essentially climb up my body to get nice and close to the point where my grip is now deemed useless. Even if you are to let go, I physically cannot get the momentum and energy to pull you without creating more space and giving you somewhere to go. So whether it's the front, from behind, close the gap right away, work those strikes right away, get control of the grip, and instantly go to town on the person until you have that opportunity to, again, disengage, or if you wish to re-engage, that's fine. So at the end of the day, you can either learn these techniques to protect your hair, or you just shave your head and you don't have to worry about it to begin with. But just understand that hair grabs are a big risk. It happens very quickly. But on the flip side, you also have the ability to utilize hair grips for your standard self-defense techniques as also as a control point. So hair grab is something to pay attention to on both the defensive and the offensive. So try it out, test it, play around with it. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.